Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the logical reasoning section of the CLAT and other law entrance examinations. It will be focused especially on the CLAT 2020 paper. Since this year they have changed the pattern completely. In general, they are asking about 30 to 35 questions from logical reasoning. And they were normally asking questions which were based on analytical reasoning, or you may say the normal reasoning portion. In 2020, they have changed the pattern completely. Out of 30 questions, they have asked 25 questions which were based on passages, and only 5 questions which were based on normal or logical reasoning or normal reasoning. So, as you know that this portion is one of the most important portions of your syllabus. As you know that it's a very important section, and its weightage is almost, you will see that the weightage for almost every section is almost equal, but the importance of this section is increased since it is not only now you're testing your basic reasoning ability, but it is also testing your comprehension abilities. And this is a new change, especially with comparison to the previous year examinations. In 2020, the new pattern was introduced by the CLAT, and they have completely changed the pattern of the question. Now, I'm going to start with the question paper of 2020. This section aims to test the reasoning and analytical abilities of the candidates. Now, we are going to discuss about not only about the questions but also about the important topics which you need to cover to clear this section, to complete this section. Now, on the first slide, as you see here that this section, the first question of this section was a passage, and on the basis of this passage they have asked 5 questions. Now, if you are going to solve any passage or any question which is based on the passage, then your approach should be a bit different. So start from reading the question and then you should read the passage. First try to read the questions, because if you read the questions first, you will be able to remember those words which are required to give the answer of the question. For example, just take a look at the first question. Which of the following conveys the main idea expressed in the passage? Now, in this case, the keyword for this question is the main idea. So if you are trying to solve the questions based on the passages, you have to identify the keywords into the question. The first question, the keyword is main idea. So you have to identify what is the main idea of the passage, and for that purpose you have to, normally the first question generally based on the first few lines of the passage. Now, second question, in this line they have given a line, now I have to identify that line into the passage, right? Now the next one. Now this question talks about the argument. Now if you say what is an argument, so in terms of logic, argument is nothing but the linguistic counterpart of the inference. Argument is nothing but the linguistic counterpart of the inference. Now here the question is, what is inference? Now, inference is a process by which we arrive at a conclusion by using some facts, some information, right? So author's argument, they are here, the argument of the author. You have to identify the argument of the author, and especially another important word here is strengthen. which of the following strengthens the author's argument? It means which of the following statements can make your supporting strongly to the author's argument. Now, next question. What does the author indicate when he quotes that rose-colored glasses always lead to unfair or distortion? Now, here it is a phrase. It is a phrase. So sometimes you need to identify the words, the statements, the phrases which are used in the passage, and then on the basis of that you can arrive at your answer. Next one, last question. Just take a look. Last question says, the author has severally targeted and criticized which one of the following factors of digital journalism? Now, targeted and criticized, these two words are again our keywords, especially the visitor criticized is again a very important keyword. Now, we can now search these keywords, or you can find our answers on the basis of these keywords into the passage. Go through the passage now. Just there. Now, let us start reading the passage. Some readers wondered whether my reading of the crisis and the news media is about journalism or about news industry. Now, if we'll go through the complete passage, we'll find that the author is saying, just take a look at this word. Now, in one of the questions, the rose-colored glasses, this phrase is used. Next thing, let's just go through this. If we'll go through the complete passage, we'll find that what the author wants to say, that the modern day journalism which is evolved after the development of the internet, or you may say after the development of the social media, is distorting the truth. So the answer for the first question is this one. Social media journalism distorts the truth, right? Now for the second question, hence when I talk about the digital information news environment, I am talking about how there needs to be a conducive atmosphere for credible information to resonate with the people. The author assumes that. Now here the question asks about the assumption, what the author is assuming. Keyword is assume. The author is not following the facts, but author assumes that the digital news is neither evidence-based nor data driven. The author is just looking at a few articles or a few news, and on the basis of that the author assumes that the digital news is neither evidence-based nor data-based. Then second one, the digital journalism does not help people in making informed choices. Since the author assumes that digital media or the digital journalism is distorting the truth or is changing the truth, so in that case it cannot help people in making informed choices. So for this question our answer will be first and second. Now if we take a look at this question, we will find that it is a normal comprehension type question. It is a normal question, it is a normal passage, on the basis of that passage they have asked you about 5 questions. So our approach should be similar to that of the solving the comprehension, but yes, in one way it is different from the normal comprehension, is that in this case you have to identify the main ideas or the keywords which are related to the logical reasoning. Like here the keyword is assume. Assume is related to assumption. Now assumption is a part of logical reasoning, right? Assumption is a part of logical reasoning. the next thing. Now I'm going on to the next one, next passage. And one more thing, we'll take a look at the questions here or the passages here. All the passages are taken from the newspaper or the books which were published in 2020. It means they are using the passages from the current, right? Even if the information in the passages are from the past, but they are using the passages from the current, and that is very important. So if we'll read about now, second thing, one more very important thing, just take a look here. This passage is from the Hindu. The next passage is from Indian Express. Now the next one, Times of India. Just take a look. This passage is from, the third passage is from Times of India. Fourth passage is from Down to Earth magazine, right? And the last passage is again from the Indian Express. So if we'll consider these choices, like out of these 5 passages, 2 are from the Indian Express, 1 from the Hindu, 1 from the Times of India, and one from the Down to Earth. And now just take a look about the type of the passages. The last passage is about the impact of the COVID-19 on education, right? So it is talking about a social issue. So for the social issue, the passage is taken from the Indian Express. Next one, this passage, which is related to about our lifestyle, actually about our environment, about our functionality, is taken from the Down to Earth. Now Down to Earth is well known for its environmental content. It is a magazine for the environment. It raises issues about the environment or environmental conditions and the things like that. So the passage which is related to our health, our lifestyle, or our environment is taken from the Down to Earth. Next one, again about the education system and impact of COVID on education. It is again a social issue. So this passage is taken from Times of India. Just take a look. This is taken from Times of India. Now the next one, this one. Again it is about, now this issue is a very important issue, especially it is related to ban on liquor and how it affected the USSR, and on the basis of that the author has discussed about the morality. So Mr. Gorbachev, who was the president of the USSR, actually USSR was disintegrated at the time of Mr. Gorbachev, and after him I think Mr. Boris became the president of USSR, and the USSR was disintegrated and 16 new countries were formed, and Mr. Boris became the president of the Russia then. So nowadays we know about the Russia, but at that point of time it was USSR. So he tried to ban the liquor in the USSR. He thought that it will help the citizen, but he think that it will be a moral issue and it is related to the morality, but it backfired actually at that point of time. So that is another thing. But yes, again it talks about the morality, again a social issue, and it is taken from the Indian Express. Now the first one is, it is about a journalism, about a very important issue and how the social media is affecting our thoughts, how it is giving the false information. Sometimes the people are affected by the information given by the social media and how it is affecting us. So it is taken from the Hindu. Now if you want to prepare for the CLAT, then it is clear that you need to read at least one of these three newspapers, and I'll advise you to go either for the Hindu or for the Indian Express. Start reading Indian Express or the Hindu. And one more thing, if you are reading an editorial from the Hindu, then try to rephrase or rewrite the editorials in your own words. That will help you in comprehending the editorials or comprehending the things which are explained into the editorial. Sometimes also try to write against what is written in the editorial, not by speculation but by gathering the facts from the internet, right? So try to put forward your views which are opposite to the views which are given in the editorials. This will help you out in solving these about 25 questions. And you have to focus on which issues? To focus on social issues, to focus on environmental issues. And sometimes these may be economic or political issues, but those were not important. The most important thing are the social issues and the environmental issues, your health issues. So, and for that purpose, start reading the magazines like Down to Earth, and apart from Hindu and Indian Express, any one newspaper, either Hindu or Indian Express. It all depends upon you, right? Now, to understand the words which are used in these questions, like assumption, strengthen the argument. Again, here, just take a look. The word is strengthen the argument, right? Next one is inferred. So what is inference? It is again a very important thing. Weakens the argument. Now, an argument is said to be a strong argument if it is based on universal facts, if it is based on the government orders, or if it is on basic facts. But if something is based on speculations, something which is not based on normal universal facts, then those things weakens our argument. Something which is not universal in nature weakens our argument, right? So you have to take a look at all these things. Now the next important term is, next question is about, it's just from the basic comprehension skill. And the last one, according to the passage, which of the following could be the part of a state's policy to regulate alcohol use in India? Ban on alcohol shop, education on intelligent drinking, regulation outlet density of alcohol shop, community intervention policies. Now these two questions are directly based on the passage. So to solve these two questions, you need to understand or you need to comprehend the passage, right? Next passage, I'm just going to show you some of the important words. Again, weaken the argument. Next one, inferred. Next one, plausible explanation. So these words are the key words. These are very important words. The last one, as usual, the last question is based on the basic comprehension skill of yours. Next passage, just take a look at the next passage. Main idea, just like the first passage. Then again inferred. Then now this question is related to the basic comprehension skill. Now here again weakens the author's argument, again weakens the author's argument. Right? So out of these 20 questions, we have seen that about 8 to 9 questions are based on the strong and weak argument, right? And to understand the strong and weak argument, or which lines or which statements can make a statement argument strong, or which can make an argument weak, we need to understand the basic structure of the argument. Right, guys? Is it clear that to understand the weakening of the argument or strengthening of the argument, we need to understand the structure of the argument. We need to understand how can we make a strong argument, or how can we make a weak argument. And for that purpose, we need to understand the basics of the argument. Now, this can be done by learning the basic logic, the basic or logical reasoning. Next thing. Now, just take a look at this question. Following is an array of questions to test your reasoning ability in different situations. Answer each of them according to the question asked in each of them respectively. If highways were restricted to cars and only those trucks with capacity of less than 8 tons, most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highway. Such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic would reduce the risk of collision on highway. The conclusion. Now, here the term, the conclusion, and here the term assumption. Now, to understand these things, we need to understand about the assumption. What is assumption and how it is different from the inference, right? So we normally discuss these things in our regular classroom program or online classroom program, where we differentiate about the assumption, and inference. We discuss about the qualities of the argument, or the structure of the argument actually, and how the arguments are formed, and how it is different from the normal notion of the argument. In the reasoning, the argument is completely different from what the normal notion of the argument in our daily life. Now just take a look at the next question. Guys, I'm not telling you the answers of the question. I'm just telling you about the important words or the things which they have used in these questions, on the basis of which you can answer the questions. By knowing about those things, you can answer the questions, right? Next one. Read the debate between Harry and Potter and identify the main issue. Now you have to identify the main issue of the debate, right? Now, so on the basis of the given passage, actually, if it is a debate, Harry and Potter both are given 2 statements. So on the basis of these 2 statements, we can arrive at a conclusion. And we can also arrive about the idea of the topic. Next thing. Now, next question is about statement and assumption again. Now, here, assumption is something which is not mentioned in the statement. Assumption is something which is not mentioned in the statement, and we assume it on the basis of the statement. It means this is not directly given in the statement, but we can arrive at that by reading out the statement and by finding the meaning of the statement. Now the statement says, go by aeroplane to reach Delhi from Chennai quickly. Now go by aeroplane to reach Delhi from Chennai quickly. It means that Delhi, you can go by aeroplane only if both the cities are connected by the air service, right? Sure, you can go to Delhi from Chennai by aeroplane only if both the cities are connected by air services? Now, it is not written in the statement that both the cities are connected by the air services, but as per the given statement, we can assume that both the cities are connected by the air services, right? Now, the next thing. Here, the term quickly means we take less time than other means of transport. The aeroplane takes less time than the other means of transport, right? It means the second statement, there is no other means of commute from Chennai to Delhi, is wrong. It can be assumed. The third one, the air distance between Delhi and Chennai is less. No, we can't say about it. And we know that the air distance between the two places are always less than the road distance or train distance, because the air distance is the straight line distance. Whereas in case of roads or trains, the movement can never be in a straight line. On the basis of that, we can answer that. Which one? Just think about it. Now, the next question. Ananya and Krishna can speak and follow English. Bulbul can write and speak Hindi as Archana does. Archana talks with Ananya also in Bengali. Krishna cannot follow Bengali. Bulbul talks with Ananya in Hindi. Who can speak and follow English, Hindi and Bengali? Now, this question is basically based on the puzzle, right? Puzzle is given and you can answer these questions by using a table or by making a table in which you can put forward the names and the languages. Just use a table like this, two-way table, in which one will represent the language, one will represent the person. A person's name A, B, C, D, languages A, B, C, D, and then you can identify about the common things. For example, Ananya, first name is Ananya, second name is Krishna, and the third name is Bulbul, and then the next one is Archana. So we have 4 different names or 5 different names. Here are the names. The names are Ananya. Then the next name is Krishna. Then Bulbul. Right? Now I'm not going to write all the names. Then we have some languages. Like Hindi, Bengali, and English. Now for every language there are 2 options, reading and writing, speaking. Reading and speaking, like that, and then you can tick mark which section follows which one, right? So by using a table or by making a table you can answer these questions. Now the next one, the coding question. Now coding is again a very important part of your syllabus. Now here in these type of codings it is called substitution coding. So here the words or numbers or alphabets will be given which will be substitute of the words in the given statement. Now in this case, to solve this question you need to identify the common words and the common codes. For example, from the second and third statements you will find that sad is the common word, and similarly 4 is the common code, right? Sad is the common word and 4 is the common code. It means the code for the sad is 4, right? Now in the first and third the common number is 6 and the common word is happy. So 6 is for happy. Now in the third statement, the word left is and, the code left is 9. So the code for and is 9. So to solve these questions, you can make comparisons, you can identify the common words, and then you can identify the common codes. On the basis of that only you can answer the questions, right? The next thing, again a passage, last one. Again a passage. Again, the first question is about the central idea. Central idea means main idea. So the main idea, we can identify the main idea by reading out the passage. The second one, again inference. Now to answer, I can give you the answer of the questions, but giving the answer of the questions will not help you out actually. It can only give you an information, it will not give you an insight about the topic. So here again the inference, they are asking about the inference. Now to answer these questions, we need to understand about the meaning of the inference. Next one, again assumption. Now here it is inference. Inference is means the conclusion. You have to find out the conclusion of the passage, right? The first question is about the central idea. The second question is about the inference. Inference means basically the conclusion. Actually here the inference can be arrived by using two things. First one is assumption and second one is fact. By combining these two, we can arrive at an inference. So to answer this question, you need to find the fact into the passage and then you need to identify the assumptions, if any, into the passage, right? Now the next one, assumption. Assumption means, as I told you earlier, those things which are not directly given into the passage, but we can arrive at those by reading out the passage or statement, just like the previous question of the aeroplane. Now again the next question, again inference, and the last one weakens the statement. So out of about 25 questions on the passages, 9 or to 10 questions are about the arguments. 9 or 10 questions are about the strengthening or weakening the arguments, right? Now to solve these questions, what should be our approach? How can we solve these questions? Now these questions can be solved only by understanding the arguments, only by understanding the structure of the arguments and the basics of the argument. And to know about the argumentation, we need to understand the structure of the logic, the basic logic. So if you want to learn about the basics of these things, go through the philosophy book of the 11th class, right? The philosophy book of the 11th class. That is the most basic book regarding this topic. Guys, all the very best to all of you. You will be able to find out those topics by seeing this video, that which topics are required to answer the questions. My focus on today's video was to give you those things which are required to answer the question and not to give you the answer to the questions. Right guys, all the very best to all of you. We'll meet again.